Established in 1800, the Charlestown Navy Yard was one of the original 6 yards created to support the young United States Navy. Now it serves as a popular tourist destination and neighborhood, housing around 3,000 residents. The heart of the original Navy Yard is preserved as a historic site open to visitors year-round. People come to see many attractions, such as the 2 historic warships, the USS Constitution and the USS Cassian Young. Although these ships are very different in appearance, it shows the range of craftsmanship and of the dedicated naval builders. Other tourist attractions include the Naval Museum and the Charlestown Navy Yard Visitor Center, as well as Bunker Hill Monument, just a short walk away. Historically, the people who lived in these neighborhoods working at the Navy Yard were tradesmen such as carpenters, rope makers, and ship riggers. When the yard closed in 1974, the yard had welders, electricians, machinists, ironworkers, pipe fitters, and engineers.
There is more housing being built, yet less of this housing is actually affordable. Consequently, as more and more apartment places are being added to the multiple cities around Massachusetts, like these townhouses in Charlestown, not as many people can afford to live there. All of this space taken up could have been built into green spaces, public parks, or even shelters and childcare facilities. There are over 10 hotels and plazas in Charlestown alone, which has a population of 17,000 people, 3,000 of those residing in the Navy Yard. When the yard opened, it serviced wooden sailing ships and employed tradesmen such as carpenters, rope makers, and ship riggers. These jobs were seen as more of a cheap man's job. Yet today, we see more and more of this type of contraction.
Along with housing inequality throughout neighborhoods, food inequality is also prominent. Depending on varying housing prices, wealthier neighborhoods will have healthier, cheaper, and more of a variety of options in their grocery stores to choose from. Additionally, less well-off neighborhoods will suffer from food deserts, an urban area in which it is difficult to buy affordable or good quality fresh foods. Areas such as Roxbury, Mattapan, and Dorchester are among the areas that will suffer from food deserts. Instead of grocery stores such as Whole Foods, these areas are supplied with corner stores such as 7-Eleven and fast food restaurants such as McDonald's and Burger King. Therefore, it will be more likely for people to choose the cheaper but unhealthier options due to lack of healthier options available.
Around the Navy Yard in Charlestown, you can often find healthcare buildings around. Some people in the area, depending on the location of where they live, may need more healthcare, meaning that people who live in poverty might be subjected to looking for ways to survive with the money they have. Some people may make more unhealthy choices because the unhealthy food is all they can afford, which can later in life lead to diabetes, obesity, or undernourishment. Not only this, but certain places where there is a lot of poverty may also have people who could end up dealing with eating disorders and even respiratory issues. The reason for this is due to the fact that the people who live in these places are more likely to shop at corner stores where prices are significantly lower. However, the lower prices usually belong to unhealthy foods and snacks. Due to the location, many stores have higher prices for food and the corner stores don't cost too much. And when you're hungry and don't have much, you look for a way to survive with what you can afford.
This week we're at the Charlestown Navy Yard. Upon entering the shipyard, you may see a number of courts for recreational purposes like basketball and tennis alongside a YMCA. As you walk past the apartments, there are a bunch of buildings of old and still used shops for people who work there. This 30-acre property is becoming a National Historic Park because a large amount of the yard remains operational to support the ship that was part of the original 6 heavy frigates. That ship is used as a museum now, and the dock is used for MBTA. Furthermore, Charlestown is full of many people, 75.4% being white, 7.4% being African American, 7.5% being Asian, and 7.4% being Hispanic. As years goes by, the numbers of minorities has increased from only 4.9% to around 23.5%, making Charlestown more appealing to everyone.
Environmental justice, by definition, is the right to equal resources and involvement of all people, regardless of race, ethnicity, income, or housing location. This could also pertain to healthcare, wellness, housing, transportation, or access to healthy foods for people of all communities. As Boston is one of the most segregated places when it comes to environmental justice, we hope this brings you new awareness. Thank you.